February, the month of love. St. Valentine's Day has just passed us, and Cupid has once again loosed his arrows into the hearts of many couples across the world. Of course, he must have missed some of us this year. You know, just like last year, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, sending people into a spiral of loneliness and isolation, wondering if they are destined to find love or forever cursed to wander this landscape in isolation. Oh, and heart-shaped chocolates, those are always fun. I'm sure we all know the story of Valentine's Day. Valentine was a 3rd century clergyman ministering to persecuted Christians and, in more than one account, performing secret marriages. Eventually he was martyred, and he's now become the patron saint of courtly love and epilepsy, strangely enough. Weird combination, I know. The Feast of St. Valentine was established in 496 CE by Pope Gelasius I, taking place on the 14th of February. I'm sure you've all guessed, it's now become what we know as Valentine's Day. However, there was also another festival occurring on that date, one far more pagan and wild. You see, the Romans and Christians have a particular knack for assimilating certain cultures into their own. When they conquered different provinces, their original religions were in a way incorporated into the larger culture. Take Christmas, for example. In the 4th century, Pope Julius I formalized Christmas to take place on December 25th, like we all do today. But 2 Roman celebrations had already been occurring on this date for hundreds of years: Saturnalia and Sol Invictus. It's speculated that by placing Christmas on that date, Julius intended to create more converts to Christianity, slotting in his celebration nicely with all the others that were already taking place. So, now that we understand this, let's loop back to Valentine's Day, or rather the Lupercalia. This ancient Roman festival took place over 3 days, from the 13th to the 15th of February. It began with a sacrifice in the Lupercal, a cave in the hill called the Palatine, which is just southeast of the Forum in Rome. It is here that in mythology the she-wolf Lupa suckled the twins Romulus and Remus. A quick rundown on these two. They were twins, and some sources claim that they were sons of Mars, the god of war. However, what all sources agree on is that they were grandsons of an ancient king, whose brother wanted them dead. However, a servant took pity on them and sent them down the river Tiber, where they were saved by the river god Tiberinus, who in turn washed them up on a bank where they were found by a she-wolf who suckled them. Eventually, a shepherd found and raised them. As they grew older, they discovered their true identities and wanted to build a city of their own. Romulus wanted to build the city on Palatine Hill, whereas Remus wanted to build it at Aventine. Their disagreements escalated and ended up with Romulus, or one of his men, killing Remus. Hence, the new city they founded was called Rome. Now, let's get back to the Lupercalia. The performers of the ritual, the Luperci, were split into 2 teams, Quincti for Romulus and Fabi for Remus. In the cave, a goat and a dog were sacrificed. Blood was then smeared on the foreheads of the initiates, who were then expected to laugh. The hide of the sacrificed goat was cut up into strips that they used as whips, called februa. The Luperci then ran around, striking onlookers with their whips, particularly women. They wore only goatskin loincloths, possibly even a reorganization to tone down the festival's sexual nature. Previously, they would have been naked. The run ended in the Comitium. Now, it's unclear whether they ran a circuit of the Palatine, up and down the Sacrovia, or just randomly around. Now this seems like quite a strange thing, doesn't it? Nearly naked men running rampant throughout Rome, whipping anyone they can get their hands on. Just what's the purpose of this festival anyway? Well, we have quite a few primary sources that we can draw on. Ovid, Livy, Trogus, and Dionysius. Now, not the Greek god, but a historian himself. Trogus writes that the Lupercalia was in celebration to a god called Lycaeus, named after a mountain range in Greece. However, Livy offers a different and more interesting name. Naked young men ran about in shameless sport in honor of Lycaean Pan, who the Romans afterwards called Inus. Inus was the Roman god of, well, and another facet of Pan, whose sexuality was a key part of his character. Ovid believes that Lupercalia was related to Faunus as well, a god of prophecy but also of the wild and sexuality. Now, by comparing the aspects of these gods to the celebration, it becomes apparent that the Lupercalia was in fact a fertility festival. Indeed, the blows from the februa, the whips of goat hide, were meant to make women more fertile. It's easy to see why Pope Glacius took such umbrage to the fact that this festival was still running during his time. The fertility ideals don't really mesh with Christianity that well. And so it came to pass that this fertility festival faded into obscurity, faded to be replaced by a far more tame and socially acceptable celebration of love, Valentine's Day. Now all that remains of Lupercalia in our modern world is an episode of a teen show.
Oh, loosen up, Sabrina. We're just getting warmed up for Lupercalia. If you even know what that is.
Which is Valentine's Day, right?
Lupercalia coincides with Mortal Valentine's Day, yes, but in my opinion, it's just a lot of hype.
Well, that and one other thing. You see, Lupercalia was also known by a different name, Dis Februatus, named after the whips of goat hide. Sound familiar?